Okay, it is 3:04, and we will call this monthly meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of San Buenaventura to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sparga.
Here.
Commissioner Simonson absent. Commissioner Shulkin.
Here.
Commissioner Soseda.
Here.
Commissioner Keller.
Here.
Vice Chair White.
Here.
Chair Polanski.
Here. We move on to 1.03. This is adopting the agenda. Before we have a motion, I will say we're having a slight adjustment to the agenda. We will go through the Housing Authority agenda up until the closed session. We will adjourn. We will go into the homecomings meeting. We will come back, but only for the closed session of the Housing Authority. And that's in the interest of members of the public, so they don't have to hang around waiting for a closed session to.
And just a technicality, we'll recess the Housing Authority Board to go to homecoming.
I'm sorry, right, recess. Thank you. Much less definitive than adjourn. So we will recess the Housing Authority. Okay, anything else from staff? I appreciate that, Jeff.
No, that's it.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for the amended agenda.
Move to approve amended agenda. Second.
Okay, thank you. Selfa is the maker of the motion. Carol is the second. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please. Oh, well, no, I'll take side by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes 6-0-0. Moving on to 1.04. This is the Community Services Partner presentation.
So we started last meeting bringing guests in to kind of give you the breadth of all the partners that we have at the Housing Authority. And you heard from one of our residents and FSS partners last time. And so we thought we'd Kids in Rafa, who I think many of you know.
Yes.
They are clearly an important partner for us, that he supports youth projects, senior projects, anything that Community Services Department is doing. They need some extra muscle. They bring Rafa in, and he and his team have been a great partner for us. And so I'd like him to give you a few words about what they do and the impact they have on the organization. And Stephanie, did you want to add any intro or just turn it over to him?
No, I would just add that Rafa's been around longer than I have, and I've been here 11 years, and I know Rafa's well integrated into the community and our housing authority, and we're extremely grateful because he's always there. Always there.
So take it away, Rafa.
All right, well, thank you so much for allowing us city kids with the volunteers to help you guys over 15 years that we've been volunteering. And really our whole thing, if I put it together in a nutshell, is that we've tried to represent you guys well in the facts that you guys care about the residents, from children, teenagers, all the way to seniors and families. And so that's really been our goal, to make you guys look better and to get away from the stigma that the Housing Authority is bad or is against them. So with the open doors you guys have allowed us to have, is that we come in and know, you know what, they do care about you. They are thinking about you. They are putting resources, and here we are because they're partnering with us, and we kind of bring in something new, something fresh, and it's all because of you guys. So we're very thankful that we have this opportunity to help people, because that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people, let them know that we all care about them and that we have hope. And with everything we do, food, resources, fun, we do lots of fun stuff, or at least we try to get people to have fun, right? You guys have experienced some residents that not necessarily want that, but we force it. And, a little bit of laughter is good for the heart. And so again, it's just an honor to really work besides the team. They've always open-handed, whatever, through COVID, through many times through the Thomas Fire, the passing out of waters that we did, the campaign that we passed out waters all over the Westview community and beyond. So there's just opportunities for us to work together. And it's just been an honor, and we're having fun. So thank you guys so much for allowing us to open the doors and believing and saying yes to us. So thank you.
I would say we had a training on inspections at Buenaventura a month or so ago. And Rafa makes prepping for inspections fun. So I don't know how.
Wow.
Well,
That was a challenge.
I was glad you were there. because-
Got a little out of control.
Yeah,
for a moment.
yeah.
Any questions for Rob or any comments? you want to make?
Oh, thank you.
Stephanie.
I just wonder if Rafa could just, he's talked a lot about the fun and he's so involved with all of the residents, but particularly the teams, etc. Do you want to just tell them a couple of the field trips you've had?
Yeah,
with kids?
so I used to be a youth pastor, and I know that having fun was very important for teenagers and trying to get them out of their environment, try to get them into a new environment from being here. I know I grew up here, so it helped me when the Boys and Girls Club or somebody said, hey, let's go on a field trip. So there are opportunities, you know, skating plus bowling, just to in and out. You know, there's some kids that have never been to in and out. So sometimes we take it for granted, but understand that some of these residents don't get out much. And so that's what we try to do is say, hey, let's take them to a museum. Let's take them out to a hike. Let's take them to a park. Let's take them away from the avenue, right? And hopefully they can see the outside that there is something different.
Great. We really appreciate our community partners. You know, you do incredible work that complements what our staff does. And particularly, as you said, putting the fun, getting people out of their comfort zone a lot of times and let them start to see this wonderful brand new world that's out there and the possibilities that they have, which is really important for our kids, is to see the possibilities that are out there. So really appreciate you and your volunteer team.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.
I have a question. How do you make inspections?
Well, the positive is that I used to work for the area housing as a maintenance guy. So, I used to be involved with the residents, and so I used to kind of, you know, there's always this kind of fear of them not wanting to do it. Am I gonna lose my place? So back then I learned to help them process the whole, you know, it is kind of stressful. They have to do all these things, but I went an extra mile and helped them, did stuff, maybe stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, but now it's in volunteer base, so I do know exactly what you guys are looking for. And just talking to them really, and I think that helps them understand that, hey, you really aren't after them, that you really want them to stay. And so the fun comes in if, you know, we're putting some music on as we're going in there and cleaning and they're like, well, these guys are pretty cool. These guys are all right. And so just this stuff like that I've learned in the past.
I think that it makes it less scary, you know, that somebody's at your side, because some folks are there by themselves and the idea of passing inspection is really intimidating.
They think, gotcha.
Yeah.
This is gotcha
Right,
opportunity, which is not what is intended.
That's the idea.
And that's true. A lot of some folks don't have families,
Yeah.
and we come alongside and just be that friend for that moment. Yeah.
Any other questions? That was a good question, Diana, because I was thinking that too. I just didn't know if
How do you tell somebody? that?
people would come in and look over everything and all that, yeah, and it's fun. Well, again, thank you so much, and thanks for coming and sharing a little bit about the work that you
Thank
do
you. Thank you.
with the board. Really appreciate it.
Looking forward to work some more.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'll also note that next month, Diane's got one of our landlords to come talk to you about the experience of
Okay.
being a landlord partner in the housing authority, so that should be a good
Excellent.
conversation.
Thank
next month as well.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Meeting our partners, which it does definitely include landlords. We're part of the partners.
She promised us a friendly one.
You know, it's really funny. I've spoken to both
Yeah.
and they both are interesting. Because a lot of times there's miscommunication actually that, you know, might have turned somebody from being a friendly one into not so friendly.
Right.
So it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good for us to connect.
Okay.
May I make a comment about?
You certainly may.
So Rafa has been a partner for a really long time, and when I first started working here, he was one of the partners that we were working with. And I don't know if we ever as an agency acknowledge the hard work that that he and his group did during the Thomas Fire, he mentioned that, you know, they gave water to the residents. What he didn't mention was that it was the day that the Thomas Fire started, when the entire west side of Ventura was evacuating. And sometime between then and by the time I got stopped at 7, there was text messages on my cell phone saying, thank you so much for the 2 Ks of water that we received. I was like, that wasn't us. I didn't want to take the credit, I didn't want to not acknowledge. Came to find out it was Rafa and his team who came with a U-Haul truck. I don't know how they got a U-Haul truck, you know, that late at night and make sure that our residents, and back then it was 180 units that we had to make sure that everyone got 2 Ks of water. So for that, you know, I commend you, brother, and I hope, can we give them a round of applause?
Yeah. Actually, you know, as part of this, I'm thinking we need to, you know, find a way to do a more public recognition of some of the partners, maybe as we do community events, particularly,
Yeah.
you know, here at
Yeah.
Evans Park, because, you know, it's important for everybody. It's important for the council members, the mayor, the, you know, other folks in the city to understand what it is, because I'm sure there are other volunteer opportunities that you could find for folks, and I think, you know, once they understand what it's about, that would be helpful. So, yeah, thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you. And you're welcome to stay the whole meeting if you want.
Yeah, it is silly. It's also fun. We make board meetings fun.
Drinking a bottle of water anyway.
Okay, on that note, we will move on to item number 2. This is the consent agenda. As everyone pretty much knows, we will consider the consent agenda in its entirety unless a commissioner would like to pull a particular item for separate discussion and or vote. Uh-oh, you're not taking me up on my offer.
All right.
Jim,
I'd like to pull 4, 7, and 9.
okay, please go for it.
Let me pull it up here first. Receive agency performance reports. One thing that we haven't done in quite a while is really to look at this and study this and figure out, are we getting rent on time? Are we getting rent? Is rent coming in late, and how late is it coming in? And my question is, some of the 90-day rent due, which is an AMP5. I just want to know, how's that affecting us, or is it affecting us? Or is this something normal?
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Actually, we had a resident that was, had a change in income,
Mhm.
actually had a change in, there was a change in her household, let's just put it that way. So she wasn't able to come up with a rent, so we worked with her. She asked for us to wait for her to file for her income taxes. This is not up to date because she came up and paid us
Oh,
in full and I'm 5. So,
Yeah.
we do have some residents who have been here for quite a while that we tried to work with them before even contemplating and terminating assistance. So, we work with them, we sit down with them and we talk to them and explain to them that they have to work somewhat. We bring the resources to them, we tell them to go to apply at or ask, Catholic Charities,
mhm.
St. Vincent
St.
de
Vincent de
Paul.
Paul.
Mhm. So we provide all the resources and then they have to reach out to them. So we do have a couple of families. That family actually, came through with a total payment. Giving you a heads up on one. I'm still working with that family because she has been here for 30 years, so it's not, I'm not taking it lightly where I'm gonna go and evict, so I'm working with her. I met with her last week. So she's working on bringing, the total payment, so that's why you see the outstanding for
Mhm.
a large
Okay.
amount,
It
and
sounds
for
like
more
Jim-
than 90 days.
I'm sorry, it sounds like, Jim, you might be asking for instead of just giving you this report every month, that we should probably agendize a discussion about what this report means, what it's telling us, and are we making any adjustments based on the outcomes?
I
We can
I wrote
really do
that down right here, so
Okay.
please review.
Okay, Yeah, we can
And
do
just from
that.
time to time,
Yeah.
to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I
We
know,
do it internally, but presenting that to you would probably be a good idea.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody on our board reads this
Mhm.
top to bottom
Yeah.
and understands it. I hadn't heard anything about something being so late in a while, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up. And just
Yeah,
kinda see
and,
what
and
the-
this doesn't happen often, but.
Yeah.
These two families that I'm thinking of. I really don't know what happened, so I brought one, actually, we brought both of them. And that's what they shared with us, that they were, financially, having problems financially, so we
Yeah.
kind of, sat down with them and provide the resources. They reach out to the resources and one of them still working on that. So, yeah, it's hard.
It's tough
hard
out there,
Because
and
when
I
they've been
realize
here
it.
for so long.
Yeah.
And they've been paying on rent on time,
Yeah.
you know something's up. So
Yeah.
that's why we bring them into the office and we have a conversation with them.
And I think that makes a difference. They've been here for a while and continue to pay their rent on time, and then all of a sudden something happens. And we help you out, you know, because we know that you're not just letting them go.
There are different
Yeah.
scenarios, to be honest with you, but we work with them and we try to, once again, provide the resources, but they have to be reaching out to the resources. And either,
And following up on it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And kind of building on partners, having St. Vincent's de Paul and Catholic Charities,
Mhm.
you know, assist the residents. Again, these are partners that
Exactly.
we can look to. And I know in our experience, I've been in Santa Barbara County as well. It's typically just a very few residents, but when you have to go retroactive, it is, goes from zero to a large number very quickly.
Mhm. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks you. Number 7 is capital funds and city program reports. What did they say?
One or the other or both.
It's
Chart?
the charts that we get, the affordable housing program. And I looked at this briefly, so I didn't maybe understand it right away, but that buyers in the eligibility process is way up, which is nice.
Mhm.
Notice of intent was blue. How often do we give a notice of intent to people, or is that just,
So,
Okay.
notice of intent is that somebody is going to sell their home that is a for sale home that has a deed restriction on it.
okay,
And because they have to, if they're in the affordability period, they have to sell to another appropriately income buyer.
mhm,
So they do this notice of intent and that kind of starts the process.
This is all driven by the individual homeowners, whether they're
Right.
interested in selling, then we
Uh-huh.
get plugged in, because that's a service we provide to the city, so it's not a regular occurrence, it's whenever somebody
Sure.
decides they want to or consider selling or disposing of a property that we help the city monitor.
So
okay,
right now, there aren't actually too many. We actually have, quite a few for sale homes that we monitor. Like over 300 are going to be expiring their affordability periods in the next couple of years.
Mm,
So, for a couple of reasons, people are not selling now. They might as well wait. before
Nobody
those
is.
restrictions Expire.
Yeah.
Or, the market just for anything is not that hot because interest rates are so
Right.
high.
right,
And what that also means is that if they were to sell, the price that they could sell for is lower.
Yeah.
So that's what that's about. And then the buyers in the eligibility process, this is, there are several projects that are new inclusionary affordable homes that are for sale that, we're in the process of reviewing potential buyers.
okay,
So that.
So like the
again,
project across from the high school,
right.
they have a percentage, and then we
Mhm.
provide that service to help with the eligibility review of
Right.
buyers in those.
And I'm guessing for the new units, they're doing longer affordability covenants
Yes.
than they used to.
Yeah,
It's
so-
a shame when we lose
The original ones were 30 years and these are, I think, 45 years.
Hmm.
And so this is just dependent on what's ready to be sold right now.
And then
This
the
is more,
last,
frankly, it's more of an activities report, doesn't really, because we don't
Yeah.
really generate the work.
yeah, and then the other one's monitoring rental units. Same,
The same report.
same report,
So every year we monitor
no, rental units,
rental units.
not for
And-
sale, rental,
Right.
Okay. Well,
it's in there somewhere,
It's- Yeah, yeah,
down,
The last one.
there you go.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we mailed out to the number of projects that we monitor.
Mhm.
And then we've received most of them back, but not all of them have been.
It looks like you only got 5 back out of,
Well, you have to add all three of those
Right.
red columns.
okay,
and they
okay,
Match the total of the blue
I
column.
see, okay,
So
I thought-
we've received most of them, but I
Yeah.
think there's a couple still outstanding.
okay,
Looks like 12 received.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is,
Technology report.
9. Just want to appreciate who put this together. I was just like, wow, this is pretty fancy. I don't think we've had it before. Have we had, do we have?
We generally.
Yeah, he's always been on the.
He meant to get fancier as he goes.
Maybe,
I
yeah,
was
maybe,
gonna say it does look fancy.
I mean, we are, the housing authority, they develop a new, letterhead, so that's. why-
there, that's
We're
right.
trying
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Thank you, sir.
Just dressed up a little bit better. But I really like how it was put together and the information that's on there, so
Oh,
I just want to thank you for
Yeah,
that.
that was fun.
thank you.
I would note, I was gonna mention also the security, so I think Francisco really does a good job of testing us for our cybersecurity skills. And it's a good way of reminding us that we have to look at those emails that come in and make sure we don't click on anything or
Oh.
open anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he does tests. We've had a few. I can tell you, most of the executive team gets mysterious emails from the CEO's email address that don't come from me.
Oh,
That's pretty common. lately. We're catching. So.
okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
It's happening, and then I'm sure I know Juan up north does remedial training for
Oh, yeah.
individual that decided to click on something from a Nigerian prince.
Yeah,
Nigerian.
Yeah.
That long lost, that's why I got a long lost uncle, your long lost uncle.
Your long-
That came yesterday.
There's money there. isn't
I know.
there? Well, if there's no other questions, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the consent, or not the
Consent
consent
agenda.
agenda items.
I
Did
second.
any commissioner have any? We have a motion from
I
Jim,
second.
a second from Barbara. Any other discussion?
Do you want
on
my
any of
verbal
the items?
before you vote or after you vote?
Let's do it now.
And I hate to pause a vote, but I did want to give you a couple
Yeah.
updates from my report. One is, several of us. We go to coffee at Buenaventura a few weeks ago. Spent a couple hours listening to the community, with lots of comments and questions, but it was a good opportunity to just be faced with that community. I'm doing Gregory Gardens in a couple weeks as well, so trying to get the road a little bit. We had, a great meeting with the Westview RAC, and then we also confirmed with the Westview RAC that they have access to an office that will give them their flexibility to use the office at their convenience. So that we just confirmed that recently. So that was great. Since we last met, we had another site visit with our elected officials. This is with Senator Bennett and Senator Ramon. Great Friday afternoon tour. They were really excited. Steve, as you can imagine, asked a lot of questions, which he always does, but it was a really great conversation. Community Services held a really terrific, we talked about partner lunch 2 weeks ago. And I wasn't sure, we haven't done one, I think, ever, or at least not for a long time, and I wasn't sure whether partners thought this was important. They were thrilled to be brought together, to be fed a lunch, and to be given a certificate and recognized for their partnership. So we had, I think we only had one that didn't attend that we had to give the certificate after, and they all spoke very highly of. And there was not an agenda with a lot of speeches, it was really just an opportunity to thank them, and it was really well done.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Stephanie for putting this whole thing together,
Yeah,
because
it
it
was
really,
really
it opened my eyes to see how many people out there work with us, how many partners are out there. And I think the partners that were there can even tell other partners, hey, you might want to jump on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was grateful for the face-to-face
Yeah, it was really
and being
nice.
able
Yeah,
to meet them and thank them and just have a conversation.
They were very happy to be
Yes.
there. Go ahead, Jane.
Like as a partner, it's really great when we get brought together, because it's that moment when we're all together that we get to actually do a little cross talking and we just slide ideas to each other, and
Mhm.
it's nice, and it's not like a meeting.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. No, exactly.
Like this, you mean?
Yeah.
Super casual. It was
Yeah.
really nice.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Stefan.
Yeah, it was really, it was at the pond and we filled that room.
Oh, it was wonderful.
So
It was
really good.
wonderful. It really was.
Our two resident commissioners are up for reappointment and they
Yep.
both did a great job at the interview with the city council committee a couple of Fridays ago. It is on the council's full agenda on Tuesday.
Okay.
I expect you'll both
Yes.
want to be there and see your appointment happen by the full council. So
Mhm.
congratulations in advance.
Mhm.
That should go well. Couple other things, we are, for the first time, I guess, a few years participating in the corporate games, which is a Ventura City sponsored event, but it's for all companies and employers in Ventura County. So we have actually a pretty enthusiastic group of employees
Yeah.
that are participating in several sports. So that starts in April. I'm happy to share the calendar if any of you want to come and cheer us along and our cornhole and our other activities.
Please do.
Please do.
Okay, I'll
Please
share.
do.
You want us to participate? or-
No, no, we want to win. No.
Whoa.
I was gonna say,
I was
they're
gonna say,
really
this is-
competitive group. I can
I was gonna
already
say, this
see
is
it.
not the Hunger Games. Is it? This is the corporate game.
I think you all saw that we received $1 million grant from our congressman. and
Yes.
We're very excited
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
I was telling Ricardo that
Yeah.
his social media post on that was one of the more unique ones we've done in a while. So it was really fun. There was actually music and it was really cool. So really setting the stage, setting the bar high, but we're really thrilled about that. You might remember we asked for $1.5 million, but we'll take $1 million. We're very excited about that.
I thought it was $1.1 million.
No, just one.
Just one.
One straight million is all we got.
Well, okay then.
We have updates on Valentine Road, but I'll let Karen talk about that when we get there. And then just recruitment. We have a ton of recruitments going on right now, if you haven't noticed. So we have some of it's
Yeah.
people moving around the organization, but we're beginning the staffing up of Valentine Road. So it's really exciting. And we have a whole new approach to recruiting with an outside panel and a
Yeah.
very formal process, and we're excited about that. Congratulations to all of our property managers, because we completed all the required scanning of all of our property management records.
Wow.
Wow.
And
That's great.
if you can imagine
Wow.
what kind of
Yeah.
work product that was, it was huge.
Oh.
And that took a whole bunch of effort. Francisco obviously led the charge.
As we say, I'm sure Francisco was
Yeah.
involved.
But every property manager had to do their part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really great, exciting about
Yeah,
that.
please thank your team.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then
That is really important. I mean, it's great to get rid of those.
we can't get rid of them,
Well,
right?
we
You have
can't
to
get
keep-
rid of the physical files,
Mhm.
but.
But we can store them.
We
elsewhere.
could store them, and
Yeah.
but then when TCAT requires us to send them, that they want to view a file, then we could do it electronically. So
Yeah,
that's
that'd be
the
great.
main reason why.
PCAT was the last group to join the brave new world of scanned documents.
It's amazing.
Despite our best efforts of working with them.
USDA
Anyway,
has that.
oh,
Whether
okay,
they still use them.
Paper.
okay. Well, see, I
For the
don't have
way-
USDA up north, so it was TCAT for me.
And we have a new, the map. So we have Francisco's team has been able to put together a map, so we can actually show where our properties are.
Yeah.
We happen to also overlap with city council districts.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've
Great.
already met with District 4 and District 5. They were thrilled to get a blow-up map of their district with properties that we
Great.
own in their district. And so I met with Bill this morning and Jeanette last week. Do
Good.
more of that, and then we have other layers, and you want to pop through the layers just so they can see it, Francisco?
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, that is really good.
That's a
We
fabulous
made it
map.
really interactive, so we've got it broken it down by triad, public housing,
Mm.
so
Mhm.
anybody that, goes on here, they will be able to hide. Certain layers, so for example, if I just left the tax credit properties, you can see where they are,
Mhm.
just as an example,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah, that's
Bravo.
great. Really good.
Yeah.
there was a discussion on the executive team level, and, it's in line with, Jeff's transparency vision. Just to kind of give you a different perspective as well, and, yeah, the districts can be also hidden, it's an additional layer. And, it really gives you a whole different perspective, that's a little bit. So,
And then Diane can use it for the small area.
Fair
Fair market
rent.
rents.
Yeah.
Because we can do a zip code one, so.
Yeah.
That'll
we're
be
gonna-
helpful as well.
We did for that as
Wow.
well.
So it's just an extra tool to help get the story about who we are, what we own.
Yeah.
Just be clear, if they have less, is it 5 units or less? We're not showing them on the map.
That's correct.
Because
Yeah.
we don't want people going to individual units. It's
Mhm.
more of a big picture kind of presentation.
When it shows how we're spread throughout the city,
It
too,
does.
in all the districts,
Uh-huh.
which is always, I mean, I don't know how many community meetings I've been at. Yeah, you're always here. You're always just focused on it. No,
Right.
no.
No, we are. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then lastly, just yesterday, so KYET, TV station from Santa Barbara was in town. As you know, we're trying to complete our annual report, which we hope will be out in May, but our consultant that's doing that for us, Chris, is pretty connected in Santa Barbara with the television station. So when he learned about El Portal and the Idea Center, he got so excited, he pitched it as a TV news story. And so the reporter came yesterday, interviewed Alex Wolf, who's basically the creator of this thing, interviewed Joel, so he's on camera, being terrific, interviewed me, and then just did a really great video of the whole facility. So we expect that story will run next Thursday.
Fabulous.
Thursday.
That's their schedule,
Not tomorrow.
not tomorrow, a week from
A week from
tomorrow.
tomorrow, when we're in DC.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we we'll get it, we'll certainly have
Yeah.
to share it with you. But it's a really great story. This reporter, I've never seen a reporter so excited about a story in a long time, and she wants to do more stories about the work we do.
Which
So,
reporter?
her name is Patricia. She's a new reporter.
Yeah.
She's trying to do, she lives in Ventura, so she's trying to do more
Yeah.
Ventura stories. And having been on camera on local TV for most of my career, and when they had the camera guy and the camera truck, and then they had the reporter had to do their own camera work, and now her whole story is done on her iPhone.
That's
It's
all.
amazing, isn't it?
With
Yeah.
a tripod that the iPhone just locks into, and it's incredible. So, and she does all the editing herself, so there'll be a great story. And I know Alex wants to use some of the B-roll because he's got grant applications out, and it will be really good for him as well.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Fabulous.
it was just a
Very
nice little
good.
moment for the housing authority to talk about the relationship between us, our kids, our partners, and the work that we're doing. So I'll let you know when that goes live.
Yes,
So
definitely.
that's the end of my report. I
That's great.
apologize for the length.
That's all right.
No,
All good
a
stuff.
lot of, I was gonna say, a lot of good stuff, a lot of exciting stuff.
Okay.
So we do have a first and a second. Any other items from the commissioners? Again, we really thank staff. Those narratives are really, really helpful. Okay, we'll do our,
We need to vote.
this is by signifying by saying aye. That, so
Aye.
everyone approving of the consent agenda in its entirety signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes 7-0. Moving on to item number 3, public communications. This is the opportunity for any member of the public to speak to the commission. It may be an agendized or non-agendized item, but it must be within the purview of the commission. I do not have any speaker slips. Francisco, Kristen?
Nothing on my end?
There's nothing on my end.
Okay, and I know we don't have any elected officials in attendance, I don't believe.
Unfortunately, Mr. Duran had a conflict.
Okay, we
I-
will then close.
I would like to speak,
I'm sorry. Sorry. Yes,
Sorry,
please.
and I did not fill out a speaker card. I apologize.
No problem at all. You're welcome to speak. And
I'll be happy to
Oh,
fill out
you are.
whatever's needed.
Sure.
Matt Caprito, local guy, volunteer, grew up here, property owner, housing provider.
Great.
You know, a couple things I've noticed attending these meetings over the last several months. And I do appreciate the direction and the big thinkers in the group and taking on the large projects. And all that is going on is very, very exciting. There's a couple of things that I wanted to bring up, point out. And with Jeff at the helm, I think this organization will do great things. I've known Carol Shulkin for years, and I know just Carol being on any board is of great value. So with that, with all that sweet talk, here we go.
Listen to this one.
The time of this meeting is something's wrong. Nobody attends this meeting, and I think it just should be a concern and it should be addressed by the organization. Somehow it should be discussed. Because I think there are residents who probably cannot make this time, and I think that probably concerns me more than anything. Number two, I would really like to know from the standpoint of a housing provider, what is the process? And I mean a detailed chart where I know from beginning to end, when I have someone who I approve for a property, how long does it take? What are the steps? And I want included in that, I'd like to see somebody that ports. How long does it take? What is the additional time for somebody who ports in? I don't hear those things on a regular basis. I think there's a huge disconnect between housing providers and this process because it's a mystery. And what I'd like to do is see that matrix, but I'd like to see this item reported on a monthly basis so we know how much time it takes. What's the process time for an applicant from the time that all of the paperwork is into the housing authority and they're approved? That to me would be highly critical and valuable information. How many vacancies right now on an ongoing basis? Are there places that are vacant that are not filled, and what's the reason? It would be interesting. I don't know if that's something that's ever covered, but I don't hear that. Outreach to and I applaud Jeff's outreach to date. I think there's much more that can be done, and I think he's aware of that, and I hope that the board is aware of that. I see no connection at all to housing providers, zero, and I think it's a missed opportunity in a big way for this organization. And I also see something that's highly critical that has not been discussed at all, not talked about, and that is the new laws for qualifying tenants. And what does that mean to your residents, to people that are applying, to housing providers? I think there's a great crossover opportunity for education here on all kinds of fronts. And I'll tell you my typical call from because I'm a hands-on guy and I take calls from people with a Section 8 voucher, and the common thing I say is how much is your voucher for? And there's a loss there because there's some insuredness, and over the years that's really, really common, or the numbers are different than what they should be, and I have some concern that there's an education gap there. It's very disappointing because I speak with people with vouchers that feel hopeless, and I don't know that you know that. And to me, I think that's a huge gap. So with that, I've said enough. Thank you for the opportunity, and I appreciate your time.
We really appreciate your comments. As you know, we can't take any action on non-agendized items, but Jeff has feverishly been taking notes, and I'm certain that he or someone will get back to you. So we really appreciate your time to attend the meeting and also for your comments. Thank you. Any other online before we close public communication? Okay, we will close public communication and move on to item number 4. The formal action items, 4.01, receiving the development status report. Karen.
Hi, okay, so the advantage of this report is it's all on one page. The disadvantage is nobody can read it because the print section off. Just on one page. So of our projects that are in pre-development, of course, we've been spending a lot of time on Valentine Road. That's the acquisition of the 142 unit complex La Quinta. And we are getting very close to acquisition. We have signed our standard agreement with HCD, which is the key element in them funding. So we expect to be able to close on the acquisition by, first week in April. Fingers crossed. And our other funders, the county and the city, have some funding coming in at the same time, and they're just pretty much ready to go. So we did, I think I reported last time, we did submit our application for 9% tax credits that will allow us to basically complete all the work that we want to do. We did get dinged on a couple of things. We think TCAC was wrong and we're appealing those things. We believe that we are consistent with what's required under the regulations. But a bunch of folks worked very hard on putting that appeal together over the weekend, and fingers crossed. If we are successful, we will be closing with our tax credit financing by the end of the year and bringing in the additional financing that we need. We are planning to submit, we'll basically have split our plans for the construction at Valentine Road into two parts, and we're planning to submit the first chunk into planning on Monday.
We will submit it.
We will submit on Monday. And we've been promised that we will be reviewed promptly.
Can I just jump in? So the city has a new community development director, who started about a month ago, Rachel Diamond, and we just had our second monthly meeting. We asked to meet with her quarterly, and she's like, I think we should meet more often. We should meet monthly.
Wow.
Which is a great sign. So, and she confirmed yesterday in our meeting, what she said to me privately was, anything the housing authority submits to the city for review will go to the top of the list. And all my staff have been directed that if you submit something with your name on it, it gets to the top of the list and you can process above everybody else. That's unheard of.
Mhm.
That's
a big deal.
And it's a great deal. And so
Smart deal.
it's a smart, and her position is, we're in this with you. We're
Mhm.
we're
Wanna make
putting
sure it
money into
goes.
this deal. We
Yeah.
want this to happen.
Yeah.
So that's a really refreshing attitude from the development
yeah.
department that I haven't seen for a few years. But I'm really excited, and she's been
Yeah,
a great.
that's
partner,
great.
so FYI.
So even though folks, a lot of people have been to the building, seen it, it's in pretty good condition. There are some tricky issues that we've had to work through to get the plans in line. Some ADA issues primarily, and how we can provide ventilation to the cooktops that we want to add. But we're ready to submit the first set on Monday. And excited about moving forward with that. We've been working really closely with McCarthy, our contractor, to look at all the details, and things are in pretty good shape.
And I would say too, you've approved a lot of money for us to pay both up to Checo and McCarthy.
Mhm.
They're earning their keep. They're very much on top of this, and they're very strategic in helping us weave through all these complex technical issues. So
Who at McCarthy are you dealing with mostly?
it's mostly at McCarthy.
Well, actually, on our meetings, Matt Sinsky
Yes.
and Joey Madrid.
Oh,
And actually, so there's a number of people like
Yeah.
Joey that I used to be on the staff at Cabrillo, so,
Yeah.
and Juan Ione, they're really great folks.
Yeah, they are.
and,
Great.
Yeah.
They've been doing a good job,
So they're earning their keep right now.
yes. And they're ready to, as soon as we close, go out there. So the hotel is planning on closing down on the 27th of March. And as soon as we close on the acquisition, McCarthy's ready to, take over the temporary fencing and like that. So we'll have a smooth transition.
And I'm sorry to keep jumping in, but so we had one tenant living at Valentine Road. And we have the obligation, because we're causing her to be evicted, to relocate her
Yeah.
and letting her team out, and along with, I think Kyler became sort of a tenant relocation specialist through this process. Very challenging tenant, but we were able to move her yesterday into a public housing unit. And she seems very happy there. So.
Was she also an employee there, or
No.
just a tenant?
No,
Oh.
she was a long-term tenant.
Yeah.
Nobody's quite sure how that happened, but the more I hear about talking to other Humke folks, everybody has their own little weird.
Mine were
and-
employees. We had two,
Really?
they were employees living
Yeah.
in units.
No.
Yeah.
This was a very difficult challenge to get her moved in a way that
Yeah.
she was comfortable with, but
Yeah.
she's moving, and I think somebody told me her neighbors have come and welcomed her to the property.
Oh, good.
It's been great.
Good.
Happy for the moment.
Yeah, great.
No, it's a good story.
Yep. So, Westview 4, we are continuing to work on that, and we are getting basically the tentative map extended so that we can keep working on figuring out how we can pursue that as ownership housing. The Santa Clara Apartments, we've also submitted our plans into the city for essentially discretionary approvals. We don't fit under some of the streamlining for affordable housing because we do have 2 market rate units because we have to provide housing for the right to return for all of our tenants, and 2 of them are over income. But we've shown the plans here before, I think, and we're really excited about moving forward. We have a community meeting scheduled for the 20th at Lincoln School. We just sent out cards for the neighbors. And so we'll be doing that piece of outreach.
And the county just gave us a.
And the county just gave us a loan of $900,000. So the county had set aside complicated but money for affordable housing essentially from the general fund, and we just were approved for that on Tuesday along with 3 other projects in the county. So that'll give us a good start. Some of the projected funding that we hope to use for the project is a little bit on hold because of the budget deficit and the governor's budget, but we will figure something out.
Deficit.
And Chapel Lane, we are getting ready to start construction on the renovation in May. Staff, Sonia and Marco have been doing a lot of work, as well as a whole bunch of other people, meeting with the residents to find out what's the best relocation fit for them. Most of the folks will be temporarily relocated, relocated off-site. A few of them will be moving to Westview 2 or to some other projects. So that's coming together.
Any update on the west improvements?
On the west side improvements,
The west side improvements,
I
yes.
started at Westview 2.
Westview 2.
Oh,
Well, it says West
Did I
Side
skip?
Improvements.
I
West
skipped
side
them, sorry.
yeah,
I just-
no,
oh,
no problem. It went
Really
through it.
good
I
up
was
there,
just
Karen.
wondering.
Okay.
It was- Yeah.
Not looking there.
Okay.
Yes, so we have finally the plans have been approved, and we're working on getting started on construction. So that's the last piece of the affordable housing and sustainable communities work, and should be done by the end of the year.
Thank you.
Okay. And Westview 2. So Westview 2 looks great. If you drove in past it, it's almost done. It should be done by the end of the month, we hope, because otherwise we'll have to extend our insurance again. So we're gonna start moving people in April. We are making good progress on the lease up. We are also making progress we do have a bit of a gap, but as Jeff mentioned, we got the earmark, so that will helpful part of our gap. The city is agreeing to defer some of our development or all of our development impact fees. That's going to city council on the 26th, so a week from next Tuesday. And that's kind of a major thing. They've done that for some specific projects in the past. We haven't needed to do it on any of our other projects, but it will be very helpful for Westview 2. We're also going to be able to increase the permanent loan amount. So with all of that, we will eliminate the gap that we had in financing.
And we're close to negotiating a final lease with Child Development Resources.
Yes.
To run the childcare rooms. They're gonna pay us rent,
Yeah,
which is great.
yeah.
And maintain their own properties, which will, their own portion of the property too, which is even better. So very close to that. They do a good job.
And we're going to be bringing them, I think, to the residents meeting, I hope
Yes,
the next meeting.
it is next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can start to let folks know here in Westview about the services that will be offered and like that. So yeah, that'll be a great
Awesome.
resource
Yeah.
for us. Yeah.
Big time.
Westview 3, of course, we have closed the permanent financing. We are going through our final tax credit paperwork on that. I think I probably need to take urban greening off because it's done. And Upper Tall and Willett Ranch, we're still just working on some final equity and, well, for Upper Tall, we actually have the 8609s. We're getting our tax credit investor to give us the A-OK, then we'll send them in, and pretty soon we should get our final equity for El Portal. So that's kind of what's happening with our projects. Any questions?
When we're putting solar in all of our buildings, do we get a federal tax rebate?
Well, that's a very good question. So,
Well, I did, so I don't know why.
well, the IRA, whatever that stands for, does provide for some special tax credits for solar on affordable housing.
Right, yeah,
However, we'd have to structure our project in a way that's not necessarily favorable for us.
okay.
So we are not looking at, we'd have to, right now, it's too complicated to explain.
That's
So
all right.
right now, we are not
Yes,
gonna
no,
take
it's fine.
advantage of those. But there's so many environmental
Yeah.
sustainability, different programs, and we are striving to take advantage of whatever we can. But we are not taking advantage of the IRA for Westview 2.
Inflation Reduction Act.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
I know, it's not the Irish Republic.
Yeah, right, right.
The same thing, I guess, question goes for hot water heaters. Do we have regular hot water heaters in our buildings, or do we have smaller tankless ones?
So we are, for example, on Westview 2, we have boiler systems. We have a boiler system, which is still a last remnant. It is gas
Yeah.
because that's what we can
Yeah.
do. On Westview 3, we have individual electric hot water heaters.
We don't have tankless. Will you?
Yes, we have Soho.
Soho.
Well, Soho has tankless? There's a rebate on those too?
So,
I mean, I don't know. if we-
well, we
we can
are, well, that's been
qualify
in
for
for a while. We are
Yeah.
actually looking at this, a program to see if it can be helpful with doing some retrofitting of energy efficiency stuff in some of our projects. We're not sure it's going to be helpful, but we're looking into that.
I mean, I'm just hearing a lot of murmuring regarding regular hot water heaters are not gonna be around in the next 3 or 4 years. They're just not gonna be around.
Well, we are, everything that we do from here on out is going to be all electric, and we are retrofitting Valentine Road. Some of it will happen in the second phase to be all electric. It's actually pretty much electric already, but we'll be implementing a heat pump boiler system. There, it's currently gas, hot water heater. And there's a few gas things there, but ultimately we will be all electric.
In transition, yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey,
Did I hear you say that the boiler was with gas at Westview 2?
Yes,
Oh, okay. So there is gas on the property.
there is gas on the property. So Westview 1 and 3 are all electric.
Yeah.
There was some transition issues for boiler systems, meeting energy codes a few years ago. And so when we were doing the design for Westview 2, we were not able to implement an electric hot water heating system. But going forward, that's been worked out. And so like at Valentine Road, we are implementing electric hot water heat.
But
And then-
Westview 2 won't be retrofitted or.
No, Westview 2 will not be retrofitted. And Valentine Road we will ultimately be doing solar that will produce net zero.
Right.
So we'll be producing all of our electricity on site.
Any other questions for Karen? Karen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion.
I would like to motion to receive the development status report.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have Kate as the maker of the motion, Diana as the second. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? This is roll call. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sprague,
Yes.
Commissioner Simonson,
Yes.
sorry about that, Commissioner Schulkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Saucedo,
Yes.
Commissioner Keller,
Yes.
Vice Chair White.
Yes.
Chair Polanski.
Yes, thank you. 4.02, a resolution adopting a conflict of interest code.
Hello,
Oh,
Hello.
Hi.
we are a public agency, and as a public agency, we're required to have a conflict of interest code, and we have one. We've had one since at least 2006. And every 7 or 8 years, it gets revised, and we're at that time. The reason we want to revise the current one is that mostly the job positions that are listed in our current conflict of interest code are outdated and not terribly accurate. And for example, I'm not on it. There's no general counsel. There's no, well, let's just, trust me, it's inaccurate. This, the current list that's at Appendix A is entirely accurate and all the positions are filled. It may be subject to revision from time to time, but the takeaway here is it's up to date and accurate. So the folks who are in those positions will be required to fill out what's known as a Form 700. You all fill out a Form 700 every year.
Yeah.
Our old conflict of interest code required you to fill one out.
Yeah.
That was an error. We can't require you to, the city council requires you to.
Yeah.
And you file yours with the clerk of the
Yeah.
council.
Mhm.
Ours will remain internal. The folks on our Appendix A will be filing these internally, not with the city clerk. So different. So
But there's
we're-
still public record, right? It's,
they're still public
yeah,
records.
okay.
They'll be subject to public disclosure, 100%. The point of these is, as you know, is to identify anybody who might conceivably have a conflict of interest. For instance, my heavy investment in McCarthy, I've learned is probably not, I think, I'm joking. I don't have a dime. It's just designed to ensure everybody's on the up and up and
Yeah.
working transparently. One thing that's big difference is categories. Every code of conflict of interest code I've seen lists categories, and they're of two kinds. One set is categories, levels of disclosure. In other words, you only have to disclose this amount up to the broadest disclosure. Others break out the categories by kind of disclosure, like you have to disclose only your properties, but you, however, have to disclose your investments. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why we would break it out. Everybody who's required to fill out a 700 will fill it out in its entirety. So with no exception. So broadest disclosure in all categories is what we're doing with our group. I suspect most folks are gonna be just checking none. But we'll find out. The jurisdiction, by the way, for this is the city of San Buenaventura,
Okay.
just within the city. For businesses, properties, et cetera, doing business in city of San Buenaventura. Finally, another difference from the prior codes and this one is that this one is going to require the Form 700 when assuming and leaving a position, not just annually. So for instance, you get a new CEO, he's going to be required, or she, to fill out one upon assuming office and then upon departure as well.
Yeah.
And of course, they'll be done annually. Upon your passage, assuming you pass it, on passage of this resolution, all designated employees will be required to fill out their Form 700 within 30 days of this resolution's passage. After that, it will be no later than April 1st every year.
So it's kind of in line with commissioners, because we also, when we assume the office and when we leave the office as well as annually, are required to do the 700.
Exactly right. It should be pretty much the same as what you're undergoing now.
I think ours should do by April 1st too.
April 1st.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the April 1st deadline comes from the Form 700 itself.
Right, yeah.
But for a new conflict of interest code as here, it's within 30 days of the adoption. So our current folks have to fill one out by April 1st. Well, we got a new one, so they'll have actually an extension because it's what, March 13th? They'll have till April
Yeah.
13th or so.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions?
I do have a question. I noticed that on the job title positions, you still have deputy directors. Didn't we change it to directors?
Can we?
I thought we had.
We had. That's a good catch.
Oh, okay.
We met, we.
That might be, yes.
All right.
Coming up.
Yes.
With your, when you pass this, please understand, the appendix A may be amended from time to time to remove such words as deputy. So, is that okay with you?
Mhm. Yeah,
Should it, yeah, I mean, should, now since we're approving, the appendix A, the motion should
Do we do
perhaps
it now?
recognize it will be revised,
yeah.
the revised.
So the minutes will reflect that amendments to the,
Resolution.
to the designated employees in appendix A
Yeah.
may be made without action by the board to ensure accuracy.
Mhm.
I think the deputy directors who are now directors know who they are, and they're, I don't think we'll have a problem, but it's a good catch, so I totally agree. with you.
So would you like to take the motion?
Move to, gosh, I don't know. What we're doing here.
4.02.
Move to adopt resolution adopting the conflict of interest code with the understanding that the appendix will be or may be modified to reflect the correct job
From
title
time to time
From
to
time to
ensure
time.
accuracy.
and to ensure accuracy.
Second.
Okay, we have Selfa as the maker of the motion, Carol as the second. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Thank you, Tierna.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sparta,
Yes.
Commissioner Simonson,
Yes.
Commissioner Shulkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Salcedo,
Yes.
Commissioner Keller,
Yes.
Vice Chair White.
Yes.
Chair Plant.
Yes. 4.03, changing the board meeting dates in April and May.
Yeah, so we have a couple months where we have conflicts, and so I'll turn it over to Chris to give you the suggested date we'd like you to change them to.
So for our board meeting in April, Francisco was showing, we would normally, have it on Wednesday, April 10th, which is the second Wednesday of the month. But one of the conferences is scheduled during that time. Our proposed is to move it to the following week, which would be, Wednesday, April 17th at the same time. And then for the next month, Francisco, we would normally hold our meeting on Wednesday, May 8th, again, the second Wednesday of the month. But there is also another conference scheduled at that time. So we are also proposing that we move it back 1 week to Wednesday, May 15th at 3 o'clock.
And why this is important is, of course, needing to establish a quorum in person, but also the fact that we encourage commissioners to take advantage of the training opportunities at conferences. And for example, the second Wednesday in April happens to be the day we'll spend the entire day up on the Hill.
Yeah.
This would be really difficult even to zoom in, because we'll likely be in live meetings.
Yeah.
Second. take.
Yeah.
15.
So
And
those
Okay.
dates make sense.
Yes,
So those are the DRP dates that first.
May
and
15th.
that
In the evening, so we
Yeah.
can.
Also, that's the day of my RAC meeting, but I think that I would be able to make it to the RAC meeting if I was, if I was able to leave by 5:30.
We should be.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, that works.
I'm gonna change my rack meeting. I can change the date. It's just easier. We've done that before. Except.
The
So
15th?
So April 17th and May 15th are the two dates.
That, just the following Wednesday, the third Wednesday instead of the second.
make a motion to approve the changing of the dates.
Okay, Jim has made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Selfa did the second. Jim is the maker of the motion and Selfa is the second. And thank you very much. It was actually, I think it was Kristen that caught
Yeah.
Initially that we would have an issue with.
So I'll also be sending out just email reminders.
Yeah.
So that please don't be scared, okay?
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sparta,
Yes.
Commissioner Simonson,
Yes.
Commissioner Shulkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Salcedo.
Yes.
Commissioner Keller.
Yes.
Vice Chair White.
Yes,
Chair Pulaski.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to information items. Commissioners and officers
April
reports,
17th,
anything
yeah.
that people should be
May
aware of
15th,
that is happening. Jeff covered a lot about what's happening in the city and with the housing authority in his report. Anything from commissioners?
I could just share, I've been reaching out to women who I think might have an interest in the Valentine Road project to consider helping to make available to the new residents items that they would need to establish living, because most of them will probably not have the kinds of things we usually have, you know, plates, you know, glass, silverware, towels, kitchen items, you know, that sort of thing. There's a lot of interest, a lot of interest.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah, as we know a little bit more of who those residents are and, you know, where is there single male, single female, a young family with a couple young children, whatever. If we can figure out a way to get that information, then we'll make it work. They're very excited about it, and there's an artist woman who offered to make a simple banner to put across. I'm asking for laundry baskets that Costco carries. They're very well made, $10 each. Kind you put your hands in the side and did it.
Yeah.
So in that basket will be some of these items. And also a brand new pillow and, you know, the things you need for good bedding and such. And this artist is gonna, if we want her to, make banners to put across the front of the basket. So when the new resident comes and takes their key to open their door, and they open the door, and there'll be a basket full of things, and it will say, "Welcome home, Jeff. Welcome home, Tanya." Well, you know,
Yeah.
so it should be a real nice,
That's great.
a nice thing. Yeah.
It's really great because our furnished units, it's the basic furniture.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, you have the
Yeah.
household items, the
Household
towels,
living,
the
yeah,
cookware, the
Yeah.
plates, and things oftentimes are not traveling with the individual who's experiencing homelessness. And so.
I wonder
Yeah.
why you're only gonna ask women though.
Because I know a lot of them. And have money. Yeah, yeah.
We can
It's
also
not
ask
that
that.
Men
I
are
was
left
gonna
out of
say.
this, but what's interesting, yes. Perfectly, yes.
If
they
you're
would
politically
fit.
aware, men don't get asked anything anymore.
Yeah. And it really means a lot to the new residents. We've done kind of an adopt a room thing with our supportive housing. And it
Yeah.
really does, I mean, that personal thing, people have come up to me and said, somebody that didn't know me was really, hoping that I, could use this and feel at home, and they don't even know me. And then, so it's really meaningful
Yeah.
to the individuals that people are thinking of them.
Yeah, and Stephanie and I have talked a little bit, but as staff knows more who the people coming in will be, we'll have a better idea how to fill those baskets.
Yeah.
Can I ask, is that going to be for every unit? Or for only a few of the units?
Every Valentine Road unit.
Okay, 142.
That's
the
the
goal.
goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the future, it could involve, a new Westview or a this or that.
Let's do Valentine.
Yeah.
One at a time.
That's great.
Yeah. Anything else? Thank you, Carol. That's really
great.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. If not, should I do the public comment on closed session first and then recess? Okay. So we move on to item number 6.01, public comment on the closed session. This is the opportunity for any member of the public to speak to the commission, but it must be specific to the closed session item, which I will now read. We will have a closed session pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957B, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, Chief Executive Officer. That is what the public comment would be limited to. I do not have any speaker slips. Francisco, Kristen, anybody who cares to speak?
Nothing on my end.
There's nothing on
And online, we still have Mr. Anybody on Zoom that wishes to give public comment?
Okay, seeing none. We will close the public comment, a closed session. We will recess the Housing Authority board meeting. We'll go into the homecomings meeting and then come back. And the only thing we'll be completing of the Housing Authority board meeting will be the closed session and report out.
All right.
Okay. Oh, we stand in recess, probably till 4:20. It's 4:14 now. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We are now coming out of recess and reconvening the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of San Buenaventura. We are going into closed session pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957B, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, Chief Executive Officer. Thank you. Okay, it is 5:53 and we are coming out of closed session. Welcome back. Our report out is that we reviewed the first 6 months for new CEO's performance, and we are satisfied with the performance of the CEO and are requesting that an item be placed on next month's board agenda to talk about the compensation as a result of having successfully completed the 6-month probationary period. Okay, we move on then to adjournment. Our future meeting date is not Wednesday, April 10th. It is Wednesday, April 17th. Now, but since it was passed earlier in the time, still at 3 p.m. here at Riverside.
Yep.
Everybody stay safe
Thank you.
and healthy. And thank you very much for your time.
It was great
Thank
meeting you.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, St. Patrick's Day.